Ladies and gentlemen, grab your gloves and get your compost ready. Stepping into the ring is the perennial powerhouse, the sultan of soil, the beast of the beds, where permaculture reigns, food grows wild, community roots run deep, and yes, the garden punts hit hard. Freedom starts in the soil. This is the Guerrilla Gardening Show.
Welcome back to the Guerrilla Gardening Show. My name is Mike with Mike's in the Garden, here with Sam from Central Florida Abundance. What's happening, Sam?
What's going on, Mike? What's going on, y'all? It's good out here today. I think we just made it through our big freeze of the year. I know my yard took a little bit of damage. I was kind of expecting that with how cold it got. But I think maybe everybody in our area probably took some damage this past weekend, and that's like the middle of January it is right now, which is typically when we get our cold spells. How did you fare?
Well, I don't really know, which is the topic of today's conversation, because I have some wilty trees, some wilty leaves, um, and we're gonna rely on you heavily on this episode, Sam. I'm gonna just kind of go through some of the fruit trees in the food forest here and show you the aftermath of the really, really cold spells from last week. And then a video that I just shot moments ago. We're recording today on January 23rd. So it is Friday. It's Friday, y'all. And and yeah, I think this is going to be very helpful to anybody that is in our climate, in our Central Florida zone, as well as, anyone that is 9B, 10A growing zone as well, if they've experienced some similar cold spells, that I think this video is going to be very beneficial for them. So,
Yeah,
um,
I'm sure it's a common experience when you live in a subtropical region because, it can be warm without a freeze or frost even for 2 to 5 years. And so, you plant these things that can't handle it. Not to mention a lot of the, you know, species that really like the cold don't like it here at all. They can't handle the summers, and it doesn't get cold enough in the winters. But then something like this, is bound to happen eventually. And, we didn't get very long at freezing temperatures, but even a couple hours below 32, between 32 and 30 can cause a lot of damage. Now, this is interesting. This is a moringa, right? That we're looking at.
this is a moringa. Yes, sir.
Wow. None of my moringas and none of the moringas I've seen here in my area took any damage. So I do
My
wonder
my
how
other
cold you
two
got.
moringas perfectly fine. One's about
Huh.
20 feet away, the other one's 50 feet away. This one, I believe, gets sunlight after the other two, so maybe that's
It
the
was
common
colder
factor
longer.
here. Yeah, but um, yeah, I mean, and I just you know broke off all these branches and just put them in the compost or laid them down as some mulch. But um, I was surprised that that one um, looked the way it did. So now this is my Jamaican cherry tree.
Yeah. Now that makes sense.
Okay, so
Really,
is
yeah.
this dead?
No, no, not at
Okay,
all.
okay.
Any little touch below 32, all the leaves on those, them, what is it, Montingas, they're gonna freeze, but they're gonna regrow. Usually the woody material is stronger. So, if your strawberry tree is got a lot of green growth on it and you go through a freeze, then a lot of that green growth is going to die back. Um, but the woody materials should be a little bit more hardy. And I mean, really, you're gonna hear this a lot. After a freeze, the best thing you can do is just leave your plants alone and, you know, give them a chance. Um, because a lot of times, they can recover from that. They may be stressed. You may have less fruit the next year, but, you know, a couple hours below 32 usually won't kill most things. At
So
least
those
none of
are
our
my
subtropical stuff.
sweet potatoes and longevity spinach, which I'm pretty sure the sweet potatoes, I'm not worried about. The underground tubers will send out new, shoots or
Yeah.
ends or whatever. The longevity spinach, I already hacked all these back, which we'll see in the next video. I mean, mine are like tree trunks now because they've been in the
Oh,
ground for
okay.
3, 4 years. So, um, I'm not too, you can even see like by the pool on the left side there,
Yeah,
those
there's
are
still
still
some
still green.
spinach.
Yeah. So I'm not too worried about those. Um,
Sometimes, having a freeze can actually be beneficial because it helps clear out some of these areas that have become, too overgrown. I know that I had some sweet potato areas that also look the same way. They lost all their above ground growth. And you're right, they will come back, but I'm using this opportunity as a chance to kind of get into those areas and clean up that space. Because, I mean, really having tons of sweet potato tubers growing in areas where you're growing other perennials becomes less than ideal. And so getting some of those out this time of year can be really nice.
for sure. This is my guava tree, which was already losing its leaves.
Yeah, I mean, they all pretty much took a hit. When it dips below 32, they're gonna have some leaf loss. Usually not a lot of like uh stem damage. Um, but if it's already, struggling, it's definitely gonna take a big hit.
Yeah.
But,
This is
definitely not one that's dead.
Yeah, it's still very woody. There's not a ton of green growth on it right now. It's probably more of the dormant phase right now anyway, right?
Well, they're not really supposed to go dormant.
Okay.
Guavas aren't deciduous usually, but they can recover from defoliation. Really, is from what we've seen so far, the moringa tree that you showed us in the beginning, I think that one has the biggest chance of, having the most damage because it was
Okay.
so green. Um, and, you know, if you have other plants like that, really just waiting again to see what it does. Because if the green material is dead, like if it froze, then it's going to lose its rigidity. It's going to become, very weak and flexible. And so, that would be the sign that that's dead and we'd want to remove that material. Um, but as far as like the brown material, it'll take longer, but you will see it start to like rot. It'll turn darker and start to break down. Yeah, the cassava is another one. If that was a lot of green, that could all be froze.
I mean, the top part I think was green, but the stocky part, let's go back here.
Yeah, it looks like about halfway.
Yeah. So, is this something would you prune it?
I mean,
Pop it off?
so it really depends on what your intentions are for this cassava.
Okay.
If you were trying to grow cassava, it's the wrong time of year here. You want to plant your cassava in like April, if you want a good harvest. If you're just trying to grow a shrub, then this plant's definitely still alive, and you could just prune the top off, like you said, and let it fill out. It's probably never gonna give you like a great harvest. You might be able to get some off of it, a couple pounds, but because it's been stunted growing over the winter, it is not going to be ideal anyways. So what I would do if you really wanted a good harvest is cut whatever is viable off of this and then replant a cutting, in like a month or so.
Okay.
Uh,
So should I just top it for now and then in a month or so cut what's
just leave it
viable?
alone for
Okay.
now.
Okay.
Yeah, see what the top does. If it starts to rot, like if it goes limp and is just, rotting on top, then yeah, remove it. But right now, it's gonna drop its own leaves. Plants are pretty good about that. It's usually better for the plant to drop its leaves on its own
Sure.
than for us to remove it, because the plant will reabsorb the nutrients from the leaves. And if we take it off before it has time to do that, then the plant can lose a lot of nutrients that, it may need to regrow. So, leave it alone. I mean, that's the hardest part, really. The plumerias don't look too bad,
They
really.
don't actually. And I don't know that we really ever got below 38, 36. I
No
mean,
way. You definitely dip below 32, or
oh,
else you
damn.
wouldn't see that kind of damage.
Okay, all right. Because I mean, I was checking not that they would ever lie to us, but I was checking the weather reports, and I mean, I didn't see that any of those because there was a few nights it was definitely down in the low 40s, high 30s, but
What do you use to check your temperatures?
the solid never let me down Apple weather app, that's
Okay, so the great resource that I've found, it's Weather Underground or
yeah, you can
Wonderground.
pick your station, right?
Yes, and what's even better is it has a map of stations. So you can see your location, see the stations around you closest, and then, kind of determine, what your temperature would be more accurately. Or you can do what I do and put a weather station in your backyard. Uh, and they're not too expensive, really. Um, and so,
I used to use
that's,
that up north all the time, and when I moved down here, maybe now that I'm more acclimated to the weather, I found it was very inconsistent because at least when we first moved down, 2 miles away could be a torrential rain thunderstorm, and I'm dry as a bone here. And
yeah.
to me, that wasn't as accurate, but maybe I just need to go back again, find something closer to me, and
Yeah,
um,
because I mean, your phone's drawing from those same locations too. It's not like they have a, way to know exactly what your temperature, your weather is at your house.
sure.
It's just making an average of the things around you. Um,
So, is it possible, because assuming for the time being that the weather app was correct and we got to 36, um, I think it would stay warmer near the pool.
yes, that's true.
So
Yeah, it would
then,
definitely be warmer by the pool. I guess that would explain the plume areas.
okay. But then it's a good assumption for these leaves to look the way they are that it did get to 32.
Yeah, it would have had to.
Okay.
For
Well, they
the
wouldn't do this at
moringa,
34, 36.
no, because it's really that line. At 32 degrees, water freezes, and then that causes the water inside the cells of the plant to freeze. And when water freezes, it expands, which causes the cells inside the plant to break as the water inside them expands. And so when it thaws after the freeze is over, then those cells are broken and, the plant loses its rigidity and, its ability to function in those parts. But that's why woody stems take more to freeze because they're more insulated. Their living cells have some protection.
Yeah,
Yeah, I see your papaya back there. That's what
yeah.
all of my papayas look like this.
It's funny. This little one on the left here is perfectly fine. The little branch.
It looks pretty rough just on its own.
Yeah. Um,
But this will be fine.
okay.
Even the papayas you have hanging on there, you can already see the new growth coming out of the top of that. Um, but yeah, what uh what was the wind like? Like, did you have a lot of wind?
It was very windy. Yeah. Yeah.
Usually that keeps it warmer,
Okay.
actually. The
Doesn't give
wind.
the yeah, a chance to settle and
Exactly. For us, the wind chill makes, the air colder to us, but it's not actually colder. And the actual temperature is, what the plants are worried about because, that's what water is worried about.
right, right.
So did you do anything in the yard to try to mitigate damage? Or was this just like nothing? Just let's see what happens.
Yeah, this was definitely effing around and finding out situation here. Um, I mean, from my point of view as well, we're talking about, this isn't, this is a backyard food forest here, but if I wasn't here, how would this do on its own? Um,
Exactly, yeah.
and I kind of just wanted to see and learn from this cold spell over. I mean, it was probably a week, a couple days, then it warmed up a couple days in the 50s, 60s and got back down. So
It
this
might get cold again, just so you know. It'll
yeah.
be too late for all y'all watching, but we got another potential frost coming in, I think in like a week.
Yeah. Well, I'm hoping we get this video out tomorrow. Um,
Okay.
I'm gonna try and edit this tonight, get it out tomorrow for the people. That's what we're here for.
Hear
Uh,
that? It'll be a fresh one, y'all.
yeah, this was moments ago. So here we are, January 23rd. So I mean, everything still looks the same, essentially. You can
Yeah.
see I got rid of all that longevity spinach, that all those beds are cleared out. Um,
Nice, nice.
so my avocado here. Let's
The avocado take damage?
yeah, look at her here.
That's crazy. I mean, they're way cold hardier than most of the other species we've looked at.
So
I mean, maybe it wasn't super happy to begin with.
it was
It
it was very happy actually,
was it?
um
Okay.
but let's see if we can go back a little bit here. I'd say where we're looking at leaves on this avocado is greenish growth. The rest of it's kind of the woody stem.
Okay, so it's all new growth up on
Yeah,
that
pretty much
top.
where all these leaves are is new growth. So do you think I would expect this to try and push out some new growth? Or are we probably talking some wilty and I'll need to prune it back to the hardy sections?
You'll probably need to prune this one back.
Okay.
It looks like it's going to drop its leaves soon, so keep an eye on it. When you can see those stems, just, you know, really feel them out. If they seem, you know, like they're rotting away at all, just cut it back below that point. And honestly, this avocado, like at that split there, you really want to prune those branches back just anyways to where the branches right after the split are no more than like 12 inches long.
Okay.
Just because, I mean, you're going to end up with a lot of weight eventually on those two branches. And so you only want the branch length to be pretty short so that it can, pick up some strength. And then you can have more branching come off of that.
Okay.
Uh, so maybe the thing to do is just to go ahead and cut it back to like that 12-inch length and then let it regrow from there before it even tries to regrow from this damaged tissue.
Now, if we're going to potentially get cold temperatures again, should I wait to cut these back? Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Are these lychees right next to it?
They are, and actually
That's so interesting
they
to
they
find.
survive. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the mulberries that were doing so well are not doing so well. But yeah, these are the leaches, some loquats. Here's the mulberry. This is Malachi's Pakistani. This was another one that I got from somebody. Um,
Well, the mulberries, that I do have good news. they
Okay.
will actually appreciate the cold and the leaf loss.
Okay.
They are deciduous trees. They're meant to lose their leaves in the winter. It
Okay,
just
great.
never gets cold enough here for that to happen.
Okay.
And so they've been waiting for this cold for months at this point, and they'll regrow happy.
Great. All right. So we made it happen for them.
Yeah. What
All
is
right.
this one? Is that a
That
mango?
that is the
Another lychee?
I'm blanking on it now. No, that is my it is in the lychee. It's the orange one there, the Ganepa. This is the Ganep tree.
Okay. The Spanish lime.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So that one surprisingly is looking pretty good. You can see here I've done a ton of work, Sam, but this was a milkweed. I'm pretty sure this thing's toast.
Like a giant milkweed.
Yeah, it was three propagations back to the guava again. But yeah, this milkweed, um, it was doing so well. I had a bunch of caterpillars on there, some monarchs, and
Yeah, that one, I mean, their roots, it'll probably come back realistically. It'll grow
yeah,
back. But yeah, that guava, it took a big hit. But I mean, the damage on the avocado, damage on the moringa, those are trees that are that are more cold hardy. You know, your papayas are going to get hit first. The strawberry trees, they're always going to get hit. Uh, Mangoes, lychees, these really tropical plants are going to take a hit. When we have like avocados or trying to think of another like subtropical, the Barbados cherry here.
this is what we're looking at. Yep.
Yeah, this is more subtropical. It really has to get quite cold for this thing to take damage. I bet you hit 30 degrees, man.
Must have, yeah. So this, like, surprisingly, it has a couple branches with brown leaves on it, and then everything else is still looking pretty good. So when we know we're over the cold spell, if these leaves, like if these branches are certainly not bringing anything back, just prune them and be done with them, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, absolutely. Um, and most plants are going to appreciate that. It's the time of year that they need to be pruned anyways before they regrow. Um, like I said, it can impact some fruiting. Man, this mango, that's crazy. I mean, they do, they'll take some damage at 32, but I guess this is pretty green. It looks like this shoot in front of us is like fresh,
Yeah, it's this definitely some fresh growth here. What's
even with a
bizarre,
loquat trying to protect it.
yeah, what's
Dang,
bizarre
all the
is
way down.
this thing's gonna hit the sun like first thing in the morning. This thing in the Barbados cherry. So,
Were
um,
you able to get outside early after the freeze and see like if there was frost or anything on the ground?
I don't remember seeing frost on the ground. Um, you know, I wouldn't say I made it this far, but I was probably looking more around the pool. And I guess
Mm.
if the temperature of the pool, I mean, I don't think the temperature of the pool water got below 55. So, it would probably make sense why I didn't have any frost around the pool, but I didn't venture out this far and see, um, what was going on out here. But it's amazing this loquat, um, not a single thing wrong with this loquat.
Loquat it's a subtropical plant, but they can grow pretty far north, and they can, unless they get snow, I'm assuming, I think they're gonna be fine. Um,
Now,
but yeah,
obviously, the age of a tree has some determining factor on whether it's going to survive or not, right? Because we're talking more hardy wood. Um,
yeah, it so. Not so much the age of the tree,
okay.
but how long has it been in the spot that it's in? How long has it had to establish roots? And then how much or like, how much new growth, recent growth is on it. That's why you don't really want to fertilize like you know, give heavy soil amendments. I mean, we don't use synthetic fertilizers, so it's kind of a different process. But if you are using something like that, or if you can think about it in that way, if you fertilize heavy right before the cold season, then you're going to have lots of growth flushes that are going to get more easily damaged. Also, with our mangoes, uh, they like most of the varieties like to flower right about now. And
Huh.
so many mango trees lose their fruit production in this area because they're flowering this time of year. And then, the cold is going to take those flowers down. So, you know, finding ways to protect them or growing varieties that flower a little bit later, closer to springtime. That one looks rough.
Yeah, back at this cassava here. The dragon fruit's interesting to see. Um,
They take, oh, a little bit.
yep, they took a hit. And what's weird is, the lower growth here seems to be fine. Like that's still pretty green. The yellowing there, that looks bad. Um,
But I mean, that's definitely gonna be okay. What are these?
that's a ashwagandha plant,
Oh man.
which wasn't, I mean, it had some growth down at the bottom there, but this one um, I've, it was dying. I up potted it to this pot and I didn't get to put it in the ground, but the one in the front's actually fine. Only lost a couple branches. So,
Oh, okay. Was that
um,
a seedling like from your main one?
I did grow those from seeds. Well, I grew two of them from seeds.
Wow.
Um, so
Oh, the
the
sea grape.
the seed
Yeah.
grape, and then this was
32, anything below 32, they get toasted. Usually they'll come back though.
okay. Well, I'm thinking that I know we talked about, having you come out for your annual console, and next time we plan it end of February, early March, with the sole focus of pruning.
Yeah, I think that's a
And
great
so
idea.
I think that would be a great idea. We can go, pick specific trees and, kind of give little tutorials on, how to prune, what we're pruning, the types of pruning, and I think that would be good. This was the blue porter weed.
Oh, yeah, it was crazy. That's
It,
probably good, you know.
it is actually There's already some that didn't die, little tiny, volunteers that are actually doing fine. So I'm kind of
Yeah.
glad because I want to get this out of this spot. I couldn't even walk through here. We'll find another home for it.
Yeah, now you can just take the weed eater to it, but also it acts as such good insulation for everything below it. Like,
Yeah.
nothing's gonna freeze down there.
And I
Man.
didn't really get this in the last video, but these leaves weren't that bad last week. So it definitely, and it warmed up this week. So this took a week to look this bad.
So
Maybe a few days, but
that's a great insight. And so what that highlights, the leaves on the sea grape are extremely tough. They're very rigid, and so anything that has that kind of material, it's going to take longer for the damage to appear. So uh, like your I'm trying to think really like the magnolias and the bays, that's like our main native trees that have those thick, like glabrous leaves. Um, but that's why you really have to just wait after the frost is gone and see how things respond. Uh, and like when your plants lose their leaves like this, you really want to cut back on watering. If you're,
okay.
on irrigation, you want to cut that off until they get their leaf material back. How did your pineapples do? Any damage there?
Now, a couple of them yellowed, but most of them are still looking pretty good. This is what's the remaining life left in this Cuban oregano here.
Oh yeah, they're pretty sensitive.
Yeah. The ones out front, actually, all the bottom growth is still happening, but This crown of
Oh
thorns I need to
no.
cut back. I think it's actually okay. Just most of the end pieces. There's another
Yeah.
mango.
But your new mango.
Um, and then the star fruit here.
Wow. It's probably gonna lose its leaves.
Not too far. Where are we at here? But yeah, this one I thought it held up pretty well, especially since I mean, this one pretty much gets full sun all day too.
Mm-hmm.
This one's like doubled in size in the last year. I've been pruning it a lot because it had a lot of downward growth and center growth.
It
Um,
looks good. The leaves, they look extremely droopy.
they
Like,
do, yeah.
yeah.
And then this is
Oh, some yarrow.
yeah, some yarrow.
That looks great.
Um, so you mentioned water. So let's talk about water for a moment. Um, we got a little rain over the weekend, not too much, but enough to give them a drink. So clearly they're in stress mode right now. And when they're stressed, you mentioned that they shouldn't receive.
It definitely depends on the kind of stress.
Okay,
You know, it so the main thing is plants move water through their systems with their leaves. They use their leaves to uh, expel water into the air. And through that process, it draws water up through their roots, through magnetism. But when plants don't have leaves, or, a lot less leaves than they used to, really quickly, um, they lose the ability to expel the water. And so they can still absorb water, especially if they still have some leaves left, but without the ability to expel the water, they can take in more water than they can handle. Um, and also, they're taking in less than they normally would. Even though they can still take in more than they can handle, they're going to be taking in less. So if you're watering the same amount, the soil the is going to remain wetter because less of it is being absorbed by the plants. And really, the biggest thing we're trying to combat after frost damage is rot. We don't want our plants to rot. And, really moist environments breed things that are going to rot our plants out. Um, you know, Different types of stress, you may really want to water. Um, you know, Heat stress, damage, transplanting, things like that. But if you have extreme defoliation for whatever reason, you definitely need to cut back on your watering a bit until those new leaves start to regrow, and then you want to kick that water back up.
okay. I did pretty much water everything this morning only because the way I have most of my stuff scattered, those loquats, those leaches, they were still doing pretty good, and it is pretty
Yeah.
dry out there.
And you're not
Just
on irrigation, right? They don't
I'm
get
not, yeah, no,
regular
I'm not.
water.
Right.
And so with as dry as it's been, even with that rain, you're not gonna overwater with watering once a week or whatever. That's still helpful. The plants do still need moisture. Uh, but if like on my system, my plants get watered for a certain amount of time every morning. And so, now what I've done is I skip days. So I'm watering one day and then I let it sit. I let it dry out for 24 hours, um, or 48 hours, and then I run it again. And so that gives the plants time to, absorb what water they need, get rid of as much as they need to, before more water comes back into the system. Um, But yeah, it's all, it's all about monitoring, and it's hard when you got a bunch of different plants all together because they're all gonna have different things, like you said.
Sure.
That loquat may still need water, even though, all the Panadol growing around it has just froze out and has turned to mush.
Which is what happened to my Panadol. It is mush. So
Yeah.
now you said that's in the mint family. So is there anything? You're blurred, Bree. You're fine. Um, oh, you get the headphones on. She can't hear me. But
No, she can't hear me, or she can't hear you.
but so that's in the mint family. I know mint is like, difficult to destroy. Is that something where if it's rooted in the ground enough, it may come back, or if it freezes, that's it. It's done.
No, so it depends on how established it is.
Okay.
So the mint can kind of be like the porterweed that you had earlier, whereas, it's got tons of vines and growth that gets like a foot tall, and then all of that stuff freezes, but then the stuff that was on the ground, actually on the soil, was so insulated that it did not freeze, and you'll see, little sprouts coming up. But if it's a new plant that, you've just put in or hasn't had much time to grow, uh, you know, really what you want to look for is just any sort signs of, new green growth. The Panadol is not one that you'll need to prune, after freezing. If it rots, it just breaks those pieces off on its own. Um, it's pretty good at cycling through dead growth on its own. And I would hope, you know, to kill the roots, your soil has to reach 32 degrees. And soil
Okay.
is always going to be, several degrees warmer than the air, the outside air. And
Sure.
so, I mean, I would not expect that your area got temperatures low enough to freeze any root systems. The biggest, you know, thing to worry about in your situation when you've had a lot of top damage is that you don't want rot to spread from the stems, from the trunk down into the roots. And that's where you would use pruning to, cut off any rotting areas. But I mean, really, everything that we've looked at so far, even if everything on top is dead, you should be able to just cut it and then have new growth. It'll be stressed, but it should live on.
Okay. We got a minute left, Sam. If you want to grab
Oh,
a
all right.
shirt, you can head over to the Etsy shop, the link down below. Get yourself a Guerrilla Gardening shirt if you want to celebrate Friday. And you can
It's
also
always
head
Friday
to
somewhere.
It's always Friday somewhere. It's 420 Friday somewhere. And obviously, you can follow at Mike's in the Garden as well. If somebody wants to learn more about what you can do and how to prevent things like this in their garden, Sam, where can they find you?
Well, you can check out Central Florida Abundance everywhere that things are posted, and you can check out igofarm.com if you want to pick up some produce. Reach out, leave a comment. We'd love to hear from you. We'll see y'all next time.
Excellent. Appreciate the info, Sam.
Yeah, it'll be good to come out and check out your things, do some pruning.
Excellent. All right. We'll catch you on the next one.